Now, this video is about soulmate, twin flame, and how to how to see what kind of what kind of sex y'all gonna have with each other, basically, right? In astrology, your seventh house, eighth house, and your Venus explains your better half, the person that you meet the fuse with, right? It explains friendships too, right? But it better explains the person you're meant to be with, right? The seventh house is basically how they're gonna appear. The eighth house is gonna be more internal, right? It's more their personality, right? And the Venus is gonna add a twist to their personality, right? When you fuse all these together, you'll be able to predict what kind of person they are, their personalities, their core beliefs, their values, right? Your second house is your values, right? Your seventh house is others' values, right? Specifically your friends, more of your best friends and your lovers, right? You will meet people in life, right, and they're gonna embody your seventh house, right? You're gonna really like them because they're embodying your seventh house, right? They're embodying what you're looking for in somebody else, right? But there is a person that embodies your seventh house, eighth house, and Venus energies to the complete degree perfectly, right? And that person is gonna be your twin flame or soulmate, right? That person is gonna be the person that's you're gonna be interested in. That's gonna make you more happy than anybody else that you're ever gonna meet, right? This person is gonna do it for you. It's gonna check all your boxes, right? So when you meet somebody, right, and you really like them, right? The reason you really like them is they're embodying your seventh house, eighth house, and Venus energies, right? They're embodying the energies that you're looking for, right? And these energies also tell what kind of sex you guys are gonna have, right? It also tells the energy, the sexual energy that they're gonna give off, right? Your first house, the second house, and your Mars energy shows what kind of energy you express, how you express yourself sexually, right? Your seventh, eighth house, and Venus shows how they express themselves sexually, right? And you're attracted to how they express themselves sexually, and they're attracted to how you express yourself sexually, right? And not only sexually and mentally, emotionally, right? Because your first house explains how the type of energy you have in general, right? Your second house explains your values, right? Your seventh house explains their values, right? And they're attracted to people that have the opposite values, just like you're attracted to the people that have the opposite values, right? And the reason opposites attract is because the greatest amount of soul growth happens when you meet your opposite, right? Because they have qualities that you don't have, but you need to have, right? You need to learn the qualities that you don't have, right? And you have qualities that they don't have that they need to learn, right? So when you guys come together, you guys are each other's greatest teachers, right? You guys teach each other all the things that you don't know but you need, right? This is how the universe works, right? Your greatest enemy is usually your opposite, right? You're learning from your enemies too. Your seventh house shows your enemies too. Your greatest enemy is usually your opposite. Your best friend is usually your opposite, because when you guys come together, you guys are each other's greatest teachers. You guys teach each other what the other doesn't need, what the other doesn't have, right? You specialize in this, but you don't specialize in that. They specialize in this, but they don't specialize in that. But what you specialize in is exactly what they don't specialize in. And because you know how to do it, you can teach them how to do it. And what you don't know, what you don't specialize in, is exactly what they specialize in. So they could come in and teach you how to do something you don't know, how to do something that you need to learn, but you don't know it, right? This is how it works. This is how the greatest amount of soul growth happens between opposites. This is exactly why opposites attract. But your seventh house, eighth house is gonna explain your seventh house, eighth house, and Venus is gonna explain their core personality, right? They're gonna be a little bit more to them besides the seventh, eighth house, and seventh, eighth, and Venus. But that's gonna explain their core personality, their core beliefs, their core values, right? It's gonna explain them mostly, right? When you meet them, they're gonna have a couple of things different, right? But your seventh, eighth house, Venus is gonna explain them mostly, right? And it also shows how they express themselves sexually, mentally, emotionally too, but also shows how they express themselves sexually, mostly the eighth house, but it all merges together, right? Your seventh, eighth, and Venus is gonna show you. It's gonna show you how they express themselves sexually, but you gotta merge all these energies together to be able to predict how they're gonna act sexually, right? It's not just one of these energies, right? The seventh house is the house of Venus. Venus shows sexual desires. The eighth house is the house of Mars. Mars shows sexual desires, right? Venus in general shows sexual desires. Your first house is the house of Mars. Mars shows sexual desires. Your second house is the house of Venus. Taurus, it shows sexual desires. So this is why these houses show sexual desires, right? And you could kind of predict based off the signs, based off the where the planet that rules the house, where it's placed, right? If you have Sagittarius in your seventh house, right, you can meet somebody that's of a different race, of a different culture, of a different background, right? It doesn't always mean different race, but they're definitely gonna be like a different background. Like if you was born in the hood, they was born in the suburbs. If you was born under Christianity, they was born under Muslims, under the Quran, whatever that is, whatever how you say the religion is, the Muslim religion. But there's gonna be a difference in cultures surrounding you. So you're gonna be two different cultures, right? And when people have two different cultures, it's usually it's a different race. You're meeting somebody of a different race, right? And you combine the eighth house into it, right? Capricorn. Capricorn's probably gonna be the ruler of the eighth house. It's probably gonna be on the eighth house, and you put those two together, and it's gonna be somebody that's kind of domineering in the bed, right? Capricorn is domineering. Capricorn likes to tell you what to do, right? Capricorn likes to, basically take control during sex, right? So it's gonna be somebody that's domineering, probably into BDSM, right? They're gonna be of a different race, right? And they're probably gonna have a racial fetish, right? Sagittarius fetishes is usually racial fetishes, right? Spontaneous sex in all type of different areas, like on the ground, at the beach, in the grass, on the roof, just spontaneous sex while traveling, right? Anywhere, right? Sagittarius is the sign of travel, right? So if you have these two energies in that house, right, it's gonna be somebody that's probably domineering of a different race than you, and has a sexual, a racial fetish, right? So they're gonna be turned on by the fact that you're the race that you are, right? And if their Venus sign is in what probably say Leo, their Venus is in Leo, right? That's gonna put another twist to it. So they're not only gonna be domineering, they're gonna like praise. You're gonna have to give them a lot of praise, right? A lot of ass kissing, right? Worship, right? This is like the sexual fetish of worship, right? Worshiping somebody doing sex, telling them that they're the best you ever had, such and such, etc., right? Leo wants to be the best. Leo wants to be told that they're the best. And there's many different combinations, right? If Virgo's in the seventh house, then there's gonna be a lot of pleasing. Virgo likes to please. Virgo likes to do little things for their partner. Likes to run errands for them. Likes to perfect them. Likes to, do things to make their partner better, right? And Virgo revolves around the fetish of slave, right? Being a slave, being of service, pleasing your partner, right? Like to be told what to do. And combine that with Libra in eighth house, that's gonna be a person who likes to please, right? Libra likes to please, right? And if you have Libra in the eighth house, then it's gonna be like more of a mental connection, right? More of a intellectual, sapiosexual type of thing going on, right? Libra likes a partner to speak to them elegantly, right? Likes to speak softly, intellectually, and likes a good wordplay of word. Likes a nigga with game, right? They like a person who knows how to speak to them, right? And combine that with let's say Taurus, Venus. That's gonna be somebody who likes their partner to look beautiful, right? Libra likes their partner to look beautiful too, right? And if you have Libra in the 8th house, your partner's probably gonna be very, very beautiful, right? Libra is one of the most beautiful people I ever met. People who have Libra placements, key Libra placements, usually are very, very beautiful if their Venus is in good position. But Taurus likes to be in luxury, like likes to be wine and dine, right? Likes to have sex in a luxurious bed, sex in a luxurious hotel, sex on a balcony, right? Sex and luxury, right? Combining these two together, right? That's really what Taurus is like, right? Taurus can be kind of boring too. They like to have the same exact sexual position, right? And Taurus could be into more foreplay, right? More foreplay, right? Libra kind of likes foreplay too, so does Virgo. Virgo likes a lot of foreplay, right? But these energies together are gonna be somebody who probably values foreplay over penetrational sex, over traditional sex, right? And they like to be wine and dine before they have sex. They like to have a mental connection. They're very, very smart. Someone who's very, very smart, right? You gotta have a mental connection for them to be able to turn them on, basically, right? And they're gonna like to please. Please is gonna be their nature. They don't really, somebody's gonna really like this person because this person likes to please, right? And this person can kind of be too pleasing, right? Right? Be taken advantage of, right? But this is how the person's gonna express themselves sexually, very pleasing sexually, right? Likes to be told what to do, right? Taurus can be kind of stubborn, right? Taurus mixing, they can be a little stubborn, but with the Virgo and Libra, that's gonna overpower Taurus. So most of all, they're gonna be very, very pleasing person. But Taurus can make them kind of a gold digger, right? Somebody who's for you for the money, right? You gotta have money to be with them, right? But when you combine these energies together, this is gonna show you how they're gonna express themselves sexually, right? Which is gonna be a very intellectually, sexually, smart, pleasing, but luxurious, prone sex kind of person. Focus on your 7th house. Combine the 7th, 8th, and Venus, and you will be able to tell their core personalities, their values, and their sexual fetishes and how they express themselves sexually, right? And if you could test it on you too, right? I already tested on me, right? Looked at my 7th house, 8th house, and Venus. I'm like, whoa, this is exactly the kind of woman I fetishize. Like, this is exactly the kind of woman I fantasize about, and how I imagine her to be, how I wanted her to be, right? This is exactly, the 7th house explains exactly what I'm looking for, right? And you do it on yourself. The 1st house, 2nd house, Mars, you're gonna explain how you sexually express yourself. And I already tested it on myself, and I was like, wow, this is exactly how I express myself sexually, right? This is exactly how I respond, how I act, how I express myself when I'm with a woman, or how I want to express myself, right? Because you could be with somebody that they basically not into what you into, right? That's why sexual compatibility is important too, right? Mental, emotional, spiritual, and sexual compatibility is all important. Of course, emotional is the most important, right? Then mental, then sexual, spiritual. They pretty hard. It's kind of a deal breaker for any of them, right? But sexual compatibility is probably the least, right? Spiritual, mental, and emotional is much more important, right? But if you compatible on all levels, that's a miracle. That's basically your twin flame. Your twin flame is gonna be compatible on all levels: sexual, mental, emotional, and spiritual, right? They're gonna check all your boxes, your twin flame, right? And everybody that you meet, you're gonna notice that they was just like your twin flame. They wasn't just like them, but they was very similar to your twin flame, right? Because you're always looking for your 7th, 8th house energies, Venus energies, right? And you meet people that embody these energies, but you don't meet you're only gonna meet probably like one or two person that completely embodies these energies, right? That's gonna be your soulmate and twin flame, right? But check these energies. Look at your seventh house, eighth house, Venus, and think about what you like, what turns you on. How do you like your partner to express themselves sexually? You're gonna be like, wow, these energies explain exactly what I like, what I'm looking for in a partner, right? And the seventh house shows their values too. So if it's like Sagittarius, that means they value traveling, they value freedom, right? Yeah, Sag is a little tough to be in your seventh house because Sag is a person that doesn't like to be tied down, right? They don't really like to be in a relationship, nor does Gemini. But it shows what their value and what their sexual expression is like, right? So check the seventh house, check the eighth house, check your Venus, and you'll be able to tell what your twin flame is gonna be like, how they act, and how they sexually express themselves. Check your first house, check your second house, check your Mars, and you will be able to see exactly how you sexually express themselves, right? And because you are opposites, you guys fulfill each other on the deepest level.